Welcome back, Math Marbles. This is lesson 53 where we're solving two-step equations, but in this one we're going to actually have to combine like terms before we get it into that ax plus b equals c form. So watch and look out for simplifying equations with the distributive property. So when you see a term outside of parentheses, know that we have to distribute, and look out for combining like terms. And that's really our goal. We really want to simplify it until we get that form, that ax plus b form. And then everything else is the same. We're still turning that b into a zero pair. Using an inverse, we're still more likely dividing by the coefficients to separate the a and the x. And as always, checking our work using substitution once we have our solution. Math Marbles, this one's a little bit tricky today because we're going to add a new step to our process. So far, we've been doing a lot of problems which are written as ax plus b equals c form, but sometimes this expression isn't so clean cut. Matter of fact, sometimes there might even be some distributing. There might be a comma and some more stuff to do before we can get to ax plus b form. And we're going to talk about that. How do we take an expression and simplify it, combining like terms to our simplest form, ax plus b, before we can isolate the variable. So I'm going to read through this problem with you and then help set this up. A basketball team scores 75 points in the final game of the season. So that's one term. During that time, the team made twice as many field goals as free throws. That's another thing that's going to be important. So let's think about basketball for a second. There are free throws, and there are field goals. And we know they made twice as many field goals as free throws. So if the free throws is x, they made 2x in the field goals. They made twice as many, so that's going to be an important distinction. Each field goal is worth 2 points, and each free throw is worth 1 point. How many points did the basketball team make on free throws during the game? And we're going to write an equation for this and solve it for x. Okay. So we know all together there were 75 points in the game. So what else do we know? We know that every single time they made a field goal, they scored 2 points. So we're going to have 2 times 2x. So see what I did there? Because I know they did twice as many free throws. So that's why I have 2x. And for every one they made 2 points. So I have 2 times 2x. And for my free throws, they only get 1 point for every free throw. So that's just 1x. So let's simplify this out for a little bit, because now this looks like a lot, but it's not in the form we want. So we're going to start by just distributing. Let's deal with this distributing part. We're here 2 times 2x. That simplifies to 4x. On the other side, I just have 1x plus 4x is equal to 75. Now we can simplify this as combined like terms again. 1x plus 4x is just 5x is equal to 75. Now we don't even have a two-step equation, we just have a one-step equation. I'm going to just follow through so you can see where my work is next. 5x equals 75. We know what to do here. We're going to divide by our coefficient 5, and we're going to get x. That goes away now. X is equal to, let's do our work really fast. 5 goes one time. 25, 15. So x is equal to 15. And we can go back into our original equation and see if this makes sense. So that means what? 15 shots. So when he had the free throws, he made x free throws. And he had the field goals, he made twice as many. So 2 times x. Alright, so he made 15 1-point shots. And he made twice as many field goals. So he made 30 field goals. So 15 free throws plus 30 field goals. So how many shots did he take altogether? Okay, he took 45 shots. So now we're going to think about the points. These are worth 1 point. So he made 15 free throws. These, remember we had them written out like this with a 2, were worth 2 points. So he made 60 points on his field goals. And that is how he made 75 points in the game. We got it. This one, like I said, was very tricky. And if you know basketball, it's a little easier to understand. But we were able to figure out the problem and figure out how many shots and how many points per free throw. Made 15 points on free throws. Okay, hit pause so you can jot this one down into your notes. Right, this one's going to have a lot of steps. I want to give us some room at the end to check work so we have it really reserved. So let me just do that. That's going to be helpful and important for us moving forward. All right, so let's start with the first part. This problem has a lot going on. We're going to do some distributing before we can actually isolate any variables. But there's something in here I want us to recognize. So we know we're going to distribute over here. I have a 2 outside the parentheses. And we know how to do that. So 2 times 3x is 6x. 2 times 2 is 4. Now on the other side over here, we have a negative sign. How are we distributing a negative sign? Well, Math Marvels, let's think about x for a second. If I just have x, we know that there's actually a 1x in front, even though we don't see the 1. What I'm going to tell you is when we have this situation here in a negative sign, what we're not seeing is a negative 1. We are going to distribute negative 1 and multiply by negative 1 with the terms inside the parentheses. It's not, we can't see it, but know that it is there. So sometimes it will help you to actually write the negative 1 in there. Okay, so now let's multiply this out. Negative 1 times x is negative x. Negative 1 times 12 is negative 12. Now that we've distributed everything, we're going to combine like terms. So look and see, scan around. Where do you see constants? Here. And I have 2 variables and coefficients here and here. So I'm going to rewrite them, putting these like terms next to each other. Now it's easier for me to simplify. 6x minus x, that leaves me with 5 x's. And positive 4 minus 12 is just negative 8. This is something we know how to solve now. We're going to add 8. This goes away. Add 8 to the other side. And we have 24 is equal to 5x. Almost done. We're so close to the end. We're going to divide both sides by 5. And let's do that math out. 24 divided by 5. 4 makes 20. Remember, we can keep going. Add that little decimal. 5 goes into 48 times. So we get 4 and 8 tenths. Alright, so big takeaways. We started by just distributing. We did our distribution up here. Then we identified our like terms. We rewrote it so our like terms are next to each other. And then once we combined like terms, it was nice and easy to isolate the variable. So we're pretty good so far. Let's go into our check. So 2 times 3x plus 2 minus x plus 12. We're going to substitute for x. So 3 times 4.8 plus 2 minus parentheses 4.8 plus 12. So see, we really needed all that work. All right, let's work inside the parentheses first. I'm going to do these on the side first just for room. So 4 and 8 tenths plus 12 is 16 and 8 tenths. And over here, going to have to do this first. 3 times 4.8. So I'm going to give myself a little space here. I'm going to do it here on the side. 4.8 times 3, 24. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 2 is 14. So 14.4. There we go. So 2 times 14.4 plus 2, close parentheses. I still have to simplify inside that parentheses. 14.4 plus 2 is 16.4. So now I have 2 times 16.4 minus, and I can get rid of this parentheses now, 16 and 8 tenths. So here we are. Just breathing for a second. It's getting simple, it's getting smaller, but I'm just giving myself a little space. All right, now I'm going to distribute. I have to multiply by 2. So 16 and 4 tenths times 2 is 32 and 8 tenths. Minus 16 and 8 tenths. So we're down to the last step. We just have one more part to simplify. So let's do that last part. 32 and 8 tenths minus 16 and 8 tenths. So I have 0 in the tenths place, and 32 minus 16 is 16. We finally did it. 16 is equal to 16. Whew, we made it, and we did it without a calculator. So there were tons of steps here, but the biggest takeaway is distribute. Look, when you have a long expression like this, we want to just make sure that we're taking care of it piece by piece, and that means we had to do some distributing and then combining like terms. Once we did that, it was easy to solve. We knew what to do. So that's it for today, Math Marbles. Hit pause because we have a lot to jot down, and then we'll get into some practice.